Have you ever wondered why governments spend so much during economic downturns? Well, the answer lies in a theory proposed by an economist named John Maynard Keynes. Keynes introduced his groundbreaking idea during a dark period of our history, the Great Depression, and it forever changed the way we understand economics. The crux of his theory? Well, brace yourselves, because you might be surprised to find out that the reason has everything to do with stimulating demand. Imagine an economy as a car engine. Now that's a picture you can wrap your head around, right? If we take this analogy further, we can begin to understand the basics of Keynesian theory. Just like a car engine, an economy needs fuel to run. In our scenario, government spending is the fuel, and the economy is our engine. When the government spends, it injects fuel into our economic engine, helping it to run smoothly. Now this doesn't mean the government should spend recklessly. Instead, it's about strategic spending, especially in times of economic downturns, to stimulate economic activity. This leads us to another fundamental concept of Keynesian theory: demand-driven economics. You see, when the government spends money, it's creating demand. For instance, if the government funds a new infrastructure project, it creates jobs, which in turn increases income. This increased income leads to more spending by individuals, further driving up demand. As demand increases, businesses need to produce more to meet this demand. This, my friends, is where the magic happens. The increased production leads to more employment because businesses need more hands on deck to meet the growing demand. It's a cycle, really. Government spending leads to increased demand, which leads to increased production, which ultimately leads to more employment. Now, you might be wondering, what happens when the economy is doing well? Do we still need government spending? Well, Keynesian theory suggests that in times of economic prosperity, the government should cut back on spending and instead focus on reducing the debt accumulated during the downturn. This way, when the next economic downturn hits, the government is ready to step in once again and spend to stimulate the economy. So, in a nutshell, Keynesian theory suggests that government intervention can help keep our economic engine humming along. It's like a well-oiled machine with each part working together to create a smooth and efficient ride. So the next time you're in a car, remember this analogy. It might just help you understand economics a little better. Now let's dive a bit deeper into the principles of Keynesian economics. At the heart of Keynesian economics is the importance of aggregate demand. This is the total demand for goods and services within an economy. Keynes argued that the key to a healthy economy is a balance between this aggregate demand and the total supply or production of goods and services. When aggregate demand falls short of total supply, we experience a slump or recession. Conversely, when demand exceeds supply, we have inflation. Now let's talk about the role of government in this theory. Keynesian economics suggests that during times of economic downturns, governments should run deficits to stimulate demand. This could be through public works projects, tax cuts, or increased social services spending. A simple way to think about this is that when the private sector isn't spending enough, the public sector should step in to keep the economy churning. Then, during economic upturns, when aggregate demand is high and the economy is booming, Keynesian theory recommends governments to run surpluses. This could be achieved by increasing taxes or reducing public spending. The idea here is to cool down the economy to prevent it from overheating and causing inflation. Another key principle of Keynesian economics is the belief that economies don't always self-correct. This is a departure from classical economics, which posits that markets are always efficient and will eventually find equilibrium on their own. Instead, Keynes argued that sometimes economies need a push from government policy to get back on track. This could be through fiscal policies like changes in government spending and taxation, or monetary policies like changes in interest rates. So to recap, Keynesian economics revolves around the principles of balancing aggregate demand and supply, the cyclical role of government in running deficits and surpluses, and the belief that economies sometimes need intervention to correct course. These principles guide many of the economic decisions made by governments around the world. You might be wondering, does Keynesian theory still matter today? Well, let's take a stroll down recent memory lane. Remember the global financial crisis of 2008? Economies around the world were tumbling. Unemployment was skyrocketing. It was a mess. But then, governments around the world started spending. They invested in infrastructure, in public services, in job creation. And guess what? It worked. Economies began to recover. It was a classic case of Keynesian economics in action. Fast forward to the economic fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. Once again, governments are pumping money into their economies. They're providing financial assistance to individuals and businesses, investing in public health, and creating jobs in new and emerging industries. It's Keynesian theory once again coming to the rescue. But it's not just about crisis management. Keynesian theory also informs everyday economic policy. It's why governments invest in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. It's why they use fiscal policy to manage economic ups and downs. And here's the kicker. Even critics of Keynesian theory, those who champion free markets and minimal government intervention, often find themselves advocating for government spending in times of economic downturn. So, next time you hear about a government spending package, remember it's all part of the grand economic plan envisioned by John Maynard Keynes. So, is Keynesian theory the ultimate solution to economic woes? It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it? Like any theory, Keynesianism isn't without its critics. Some argue that it places too much emphasis on government intervention, potentially leading to inefficiencies and bureaucracy. Others suggest that it may inadvertently encourage reckless spending and foster a dependency on the state. The beauty of economics, however, lies in its dynamism. It's a field that thrives on debate, constantly evolving and adapting to the changing world. Keynesian theory has certainly played a significant role in shaping the economic landscape, influencing policy decisions and academic discourse alike. It's a testament to the power of ideas and the impact they can have on the world. But let's not forget, theories are not set in stone. They are tools to be used, questioned, refined, and sometimes even discarded. Whether you agree with Keynes or not, one thing is certain: his ideas continue to shape the world of economics.